G'day everybody. Today is the 25th of April. I won't be doing a story time today because I'm doing a special day because today in Australia and New Zealand we commemorate what we call Anzac Day. I'm going to explain to you what Anzac Day is and what happens on Anzac Day and why we do commemorate it. As I said, it's first of all say Anzac stands for Australia and New Zealand Army Corps. I'm going to let you know how it started and what it is and what celebrations go on. Okay. I've positioned the camera behind my computer so I can look down instead of looking across, so that I like to read it from the web so I know I'm letting you know correctly what things are correctly, that I'm not guessing what it is. Yes, I am Australian. We don't know everything that goes on, what things for, unless I'm in school learn about it. But school is a long time ago. So, that is, okay. Here we go. What is Anzac Day? Anzac Day, the 25th of April, is one of Australia's most important national occasions. It marks the anniversary of the first major military action fought by Australian and New Zealand forces during the First World War. What does Anzac stand for? Anzac stands for Australian and New Zealand Army Corps. The soldiers in those forces quickly became known as Anzacs, and the pride they took in that name endures to this day. Why is this day special to Australians? When the war broke out in 1914, Australia had been federated nation for only 13 years, and its government was eager to establish a reputation among the nations of the world. When Britain declared war in August 1914, Australia was automatically placed on the side of the Commonwealth. In 1915, Australian and New Zealand soldiers formed a part of the expedition that set out to capture the Gallipoli Peninsula in order to open the Dardanelles to the Allied navies. The ultimate objective was to capture Constantinople, now Istanbul, the capital of the Ottoman Empire and ally of Germany. The Australian and New Zealand forces landed on Gallipoli on the 25th of April, meeting forced resistance from the Ottoman Turkish defenders. What had been planned as a bold stroke to knock Turkey out of the war quickly became a stalemate, and the campaign dragged on for 8 months. At the end of 1915, the Allied forces were evacuated from the peninsula, with both sides having suffered heavy casualties and endured great hardship. More than 8,000 Australian soldiers had died in the campaign. Gallipoli had a profound impact on Australians at home, and 25th of April soon became a day on which Australians remembered the sacrifice of those who died in the war. Although the Gallipoli campaign failed in its military objectives, the actions of the Australian and New Zealand forces during the campaign left a powerful legacy. What had become known as the Anzac legend became a very important part of the identity of both nations, shaping the ways in which they viewed both their past and their future. Early commemorations. In 1916, the first Anzac Day commemoration was held on the 25th of April. The day was marked by a wide variety of ceremonies and services across Australia. A march through London and a sports day in the Australian camp in Egypt. In London, more than 2,000 Australian and New Zealand troops marched through the streets. A London newspaper headline dubbed them the Knights of Gallipoli. Marches were held all over Australia. In the Sydney March, convoys of cars carried soldiers wounded in Gallipoli and their nurses. For the remaining years of the war, Anzac Day was used as an occasion for patriotic rallies and recruiting campaigns, and parades of serving members of the AIF were held in most cities. During the 1920s, Australia Day became established as a national day of commemoration for more than 60,000 Australians who had died during the war. In 1927, for the very first time, every state observed some form of public holiday on Anzac Day. By the mid-1930s, all rituals we now associate with the day, dawn vigils, marches, memorial services, reunions, chill-up games, were firmly established as part of Anzac Day culture. Later, Anzac Day also served to commemorate the lives of Australians who died in the Second World War, and in subsequent years the meaning of the day has further broadened to include those who lost their lives in all military and peacekeeping operations in which Australia has been involved. Anzac Day was first commemorated at the memorial in 1942. At the time, government orders prohibited large public meetings in case of a Japanese air attack. So it was a small occasion with neither a march nor a memorial service. Since then, Anzac Day has been commemorated at the memorial every year. What does it mean today? Australia recognises the 25th of April as a National Day of Remembrance, which takes two forms. Commemorative services were held across the nation at dawn, the time of the original landing. Later in the day, former servicemen and servicewomen meet to take part in marches throughout the country's major cities and in many smaller centres. Commemorative ceremonies were more formal and are held at war memorials around the country. In these ways, Anzac Day is a time at which Australians reflect on many different meanings of war. The dawn service. It is often suggested that the dawn service observed on Australia Day has its origin in a military routine still followed by the Australian Army. The half-light of dawn was one of the times favoured for launching an attack. Soldiers in defence positions were woken up in the dark before dawn. So by the time the first light crept across the battlefield, they were awake, alert, and manning their weapons. This is still known as the stand to. As dusk is equally favourable for battle, the stand to was repeated at sunset. After the First World War, returned soldiers sought the comradeship they had felt in those quiet, peaceful moments before dawn. A dawn vigil became the basis for commemoration in several places after war. It is difficult to say when the first dawn service was held, as many were instigated by veterans, clergymen and civilians from all over the country. A dawn requiem mass was held at Albany as early as 1918, and a wreath laying and commemoration took place at dawn in Toowoomba the following year. In 1927, a group of returned men returning at dawn from Anzac Day function held the night before came upon an elderly woman laying flowers at the as yet unfinished Sydney cenotaph. Joining her in this private remembrance, the men may resolve to institute dawn service following year. Some 150 people gathered at the cenotaph in 1928 for a wreath laying and 2-minute silence. This is generally regarded as the beginning of organised dawn service. Over the years, the ceremonies have developed into their modern forms and have seen an increased association with the dawn landing of 25th of April 1915. The national ceremony. At the Australian War Memorial, the national ceremony begins with the traditional order of service, including the Veterans March, commemorative address, laying of wreath, hymns, the sounding of the last post, and observance of 1 minute silence. and national anthems of New Zealand and Australia. Some people think that it was celebrating this, but it's not a celebration. It's just a memorial to commemorative memorial to help us remember what happened, remember the soldiers who fought for our peace, and remember that although First World War, there are probably not met, if any, veterans from the First World War alive today, because it's 105 years ago that it started. Now we've got another one, Anzacs at Home. Anzac Day is a day for all Australians to come together in remembrance. But this year we've come together in spirit instead of person. We can still keep the Anzac spirit alive and honour our veterans and service members from the safety of our own homes. However you choose to mark the day, this website is here for ideas to help you make the most of it. That relates to this year. As you know, with the COVID-19 going around, we can't have big crowds. We've got to stay home. We've got to self-isolate to try and break it down. So what is happening? People will do it in their own way. They would actually doing, I think you can go on the YouTube. I'm pretty sure you can go on the YouTube and you can actually view some of the dawn service. I will actually put a link to some of the dawn services in the description. I'm pretty sure there's some here somewhere. Let me see. I'll have to Google. As so, this as far as going around, it has actually we used to have dawns. I've actually never been to a dawn service because it actually comes up too early. It's a dawn. But I remember as a child, when I lived in Kingscliff, we used to go to the service. It used to be about 11 o'clock. It is a public holiday here in Australia, but they classify it as a public holiday, but the shops don't open till 1 o'clock. But since today, they're not having the usual march because they cannot, because of the COVID virus that's going around. I heard that Coles were open earlier to help people. I remember when I lived in Mooloolaba, I went to one of the service because my sister's father-in-law, he actually fought in one of the wars. And I remember walking up the main street at Mooloolaba and you see these old guys walking down with the medals, and I got very emotional because these guys fought for us. We actually have got here, we have got a dawn service. I will put the link to this in the description so you can see what happens at a dawn service here in Australia for our, as I said before, it's not just for past people who have fought and died in wars. It's also for anyone today who is in part of any service they are in, whether they are still fighting, whether they are home on leave, whatever. It's for anyone who is part of the service to actually commemorate, to remember all those who have fallen. I had a very dear friend, my mother's grandfather. He fought in World War One. Was it 1915? His wife died in 1914. He had 4 children. The eldest one was 16, which was Mum's mum. And he went off the war, leaving his children behind with no one. I don't know who looked after them because, as I said, their mother had passed away in 1914. So the eldest one was 16. And when he went off to war, she was classified as his next of kin. So if anything happened to him, she was the one who let known, she was it. But luckily he did come home. I still don't know why he went to war. But then I was thinking because his wife had died the year before, maybe that's why he went to war, because he got kids, but his wife had died. So I have no idea. I can't even speculate as to why he went. My great uncle, my grandfather on my grandfather on my father's side, my great uncle Vic, he was in World War II. I'm not quite sure what he did. I just know that he was in there. I remember seeing photos with him with his buddies in the war. A dear mate, friend of mine who passed away, I think about 8-9 years ago. He was in the Vietnam War. And he was a very dear friend. I can remember 6 months after he passed away, I was driving taxis. Excuse me, go have a drink. I was driving taxis and I stopped behind this car and it had, I think it had something to do with the Vietnam veteran or something like that, and it clicked and saying, I said, oh, it was 6 months before that Sarge had passed away. And that was remarkable to me, for me to see that on that day, 6 months afterwards. Sarge was, first of all, I'll go back talking about Vic. We never called him uncle or auntie, we just called him by the first name, and that was it. Maybe I should have had my baby Vic here with me, because I have got one of my reborns was named for him. Vic, I knew Vic. Vic was an amazing man. We lived up Tweed, Terranora, Kingscliff area, and he lived in Sydney. And he would come up every Christmas, every year for Christmas. And I can remember we were out on the farm at Stoker Siding. I was a quiet person back then, believe it or not. And I remember he used to kick me on the, I think he was trying to get something out of me because I was quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. And he would just play kick on the table, but no. And also he had the hardest hand. I mean hard. No, he didn't hit us. We would hit him. We would try and hit his hand as hard as we could to try and hurt him, but it never hurt him. I can still see that in my mind, us trying to hurt his hand. And I can remember I was, let me see, 11. It was the Christmas holidays, and me and my sister were staying at my grandmother's place, and Vic was up. I don't know where he was staying, and we would have to go for swimming lessons. And he bribed us 20 cents to put our head under the water, because I was scared to get under the water. I have no idea why. I wouldn't put my face under the water. And so he bribed us 20 cents. Back in them days, 20 cents was a lot of money. We could get a lot for 20 cents. So what did I do? I put my face under the water. I got my 20 cents. And he died, Vic passed away in, I'm trying to think, in the early 1970s. I didn't get to go to his funeral because my younger sister was sick and I had to stay home and look after her. I can remember that. I don't think she can, but I do remember that. I know the day before that I was sick. It was that time of month, and because, you know, it's when we get the pain, that. And the next day, I had to stay and look after her because she was sick, and I missed going to his funeral. But I have been to his grave many times since then. I used to go take Nana around Nana used to do the rounds of the cemeteries, the 2 cemeteries in Moranbah, and she used to clean them, take a scrubbing brush and get some water, scrub them down, make them tidy, and that. And she always used to say it when she goes, no one will do that. And she was correct. but whenever I go up that way, I always go to the cemetery to visit everyone at the cemetery. All those, my family members are there, even family members I never knew. Like, yeah, Vic, even though Vic lived in Sydney, he died in Sydney. He was buried up near Murwillumbah. And the reason why was because his half-sister Thelma said he always wanted to move up that way. So she thought, since he is passed, she said she took him up there and that is where he buried. That's why I got to actually visit him. And which was good because my grandfather, his brother, was there, and Nana was there, so they could go visit him. Vic didn't have any children. He did marry but never had any children. And I think Dad used to always think that what he died of was to do with cancer, which would have come from the war. In retrospect, Vic's funeral should have been paid by the government because he was a member of the service. Everything should be done right, but I don't know why it wasn't done, because his headstone does not have anything saying that he actually was a member of the service. So that's Vic. Now Sarge. I met Sarge in 2008. He was the most amazing man. He is the only person that I ever known to actually treat me with complete respect. Not even my ex treated me like he did. But then again, he treated everybody the same way, but to treat me the way he did, no one had ever done that since or before him. And then he wondered why I fell for him. When I realised that I had fallen for him, it really upset me, because I knew that nothing would become of it. And I knew I couldn't see him anymore, and it was hard. So I rang him and I told him that I didn't want to see him anymore. And he was, why? I said, because of the way I feel for you. And I said goodbye, and that was it. Then after that, I got on the messenger and spoke to Sharon, a woman I knew. And she said, what did you say to him? I said, why? He said, he's come on here and he blasted and said, what is wrong with Celie? Why doesn't she want to see me anymore? I thought, what? You know, this was carrying on. And I actually, after I hung up, I actually did email him to explain everything and that. And I told her I emailed him, and she said, so I sent the email on to her so she can see what I wrote. And she said, yes, everything you think is right, you know. But he was still upset that I did not want to see him again. I knew he had feelings for me, but he just didn't want to admit it. And it's hard, really. When I found out, let me see, I think it was a few months before, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months, something before he passed away, he actually married this woman that he was travelling around with. And when I heard that, it upset me. I mean, it really upset me. And she was the one who told me that he had passed away. And how she told me was through an email. See, Sarge and I used to send emails to each other, joke emails. That's how we kept in contact. And I noticed I wasn't getting any from him. I thought, okay, must be busy, so I just sending them. Then I got a reply from one, it was from her, saying, Doug has passed away, could you please remove yourself from this email? So I replied asking, when did he die, how, where's he, in all this, but she would not answer, would not give me the answer to anything. She would not answer me. Because I feel she knew that Sarge did have feelings for me. She would have known that. And she didn't know anything to do with me. So, okay. And because I wanted to find out what he died from, where he died, I wanted to find, I did a Google. And my psychologist that I was seeing at the moment, she was, at the time, she was amazed because for me to think, so I just Googled for Doug Brown and I didn't get anything. Then I Googled Doug Brown's funeral and I found it. I found when he died, how he died, and where he was buried, the whole works. And I found it. I wasn't quite sure if it was him. There was an email there that to contact them, so I actually emailed this guy to confirm that it was Sarge, and he did confirm that it was Sarge, and hearing that, it was like I'd lost him again. You know, I didn't even cry when Mum died. I didn't even cry when my sister died. Dad, I think I cried before Dad was because I didn't find out why he treated me the way he did. But Sarge, I know. I contacted the cemetery where the service was held. I want to know if he was buried there. They said they don't know where he is because he was cremated and his family took the ashes. So he wasn't, as far as I know, he was not buried at this cemetery. I have never gotten to go there. A couple of years ago, I was up that way. I had planned to go there on the way home and call into the cemetery, just be at the cemetery where his body last was, but it didn't happen. But it does not happen. It probably will never happen. But that's okay. I actually, I'm trying to figure out. I brought this one day. I cannot remember what day it was. It might have been for Legacy. Legacy is a place, is a thing, an organisation in Australia that I will actually, Legacy. I think they raise money, Legacy. Let me see. It doesn't give me anything. I think they're a organisation that help raise money for families of soldiers and that who pass away. And I found this at one store once, and I brought this for Sarge, for Vic, and for my great uncle. I can't remember what his name was. I'm bad. Yeah, Anzac Day, as I said, I've never been to a dawn service. As I said, I don't want to get up that early. I mean, dawn, what time does the sun come up? Is it 5 a.m? Which means you have to get up early. And the one thing about Anzac Day, and because of the virus, was it the COVID-19 virus? There was none. People could not go to services, and they said they were doing them online. But what they used to do, they used to have the dawn service. Then after the dawn service, the servicemen who went there, they would go to the local RSL club for breakfast, for free breakfast and that. The day was very busy at the RSL club. They will actually be a lot of drinking. They used to play two up. Two up is a game with, it's a board and they have 2 coins on it and they actually toss it. That's why I call it two up. And I have no idea. I've got an itchy head. I have no idea how it's played. I've never played it, but Anzac Day is the only day that it's allowed to be played. I don't know why. I think it, excuse me. I don't know where it come from. Two up. Now, okay, it's online, two up. Played online, wow. How is everybody doing today? Okay. Oh, this is how to play? Okay, here we go. Racing two up. Giving back to this Anzac Day with exclusive racing two up markets. With the lockdown restrictions in place due to the COVID-19 pandemic, for the first time in a century, there will be no two up in pubs and clubs across the country. Anzac Day 2020 will be unlike any other, but there are still ways to commemorate the day and support past and present servicemen and servicewomen. Okay, here at Unibet, we're playing our part to give back. We've pledged 10,000 donation as well as all profits from our racing two-up markets to an Australian charity. Okay, now here are the game. Here are how to play. As I said, there's a piece of board, it's a little circle, and they've got, do they have pennies? They used to have pennies, so they might have 20-cent pieces now, I don't know. And they've got them there, and you got to select heads or tails. Then you've got to enter, and you've got to make a bet. The game result is determined off the last whole digit before the decimal of the trifecta. Oh, that's that. We can play it online. I don't want to play it online. You can actually buy them. Two up. Two up is illegal. Two up is illegal to play because the game is an unregulated form of gambling. In the 1800s to 1930s, the nickname for the person who warned players of incoming police was called a cockatoo. So, it's only illegal on Anzac Day. It's illegal. I have no idea why it's illegal. People are allowed to play poker machine, but they're legal. What is the difference? I don't want that. You go on these sites and all they, here we are. Two-up is a traditional Australian game played on Anzac Day in pubs and RSL clubs across the country. The game is illegal on most other days of the year. The origins of the game evolved from pitch and toss, a gambling game that involved tossing a single coin in the air and betting on the result, which is what two-up they do. Two-up became popular in the 18th century among poor English and Irish citizens. By the 1850s, the game was being played on the gold fields in Kalgoorlie and Broken Hill. Kalgoorlie and Broken Hill are towns in Australia. In World War I, Australian soldiers played the game in the trenches and on troop ships. Therefore, two-up has a strong association with Anzac Day. The game is also played to celebrate the return of soldiers. Why is it illegal to play? This would be good. Two-up is illegal to play, because the game is unregulated form of gambling. Means they can't regulate, they can't, probably the rules, someone wins, could be a fight, I don't know. In the 1800s to the 1930s, the nickname for the person who warned players of incoming police was called a cockatoo. However, in 1989, the Gambling and Betting Amendment Act declared that playing two-up on Anzac Day was not illegal in New South Wales. They distinguished that two-up games can be conducted in New South Wales on Victory in the Pacific Day, August 15th, and Remembrance Day, but only after 12 p.m. Broken Hill has a special licence for the New South Wales government, permitting two-up to be played all year round. So they can play it all year round. Got to go to Broken Hill and play two-up. In 1991, Victoria followed the same law, legalising two-up on Anzac Day. The law requires that the game must be played not for profit basis. If the game is held at a club, there is no entry fee and all proceeds must be donated to charity. However, in New South Wales, which is my state, a participant in the game is not guilty of an offence under the Section 14 of Unlawful Gambling Act 1988 unless it is proved they knew or should have known the game was unlawful. Okay, they can play it, but if you get caught, say, oh, I didn't know it was illegal. That's how you get away with it. Okay, how you play two-up. Okay. A designated spinner tosses 2 or 3 coins into the air off a bit of wood known as a kip. Yeah, it's probably about so long. I don't know how long, you know. The players stand in a circle known as the ring. They will bet on whether the coins will fall on both heads, both tails, or one head and one tail. This is known as odds. 2 head means spinner wins. 2 tails means spinner loses the bet and the right to spin. Odds mean the spinner throws again. The coins must fly 3 meters into the air and not touch the roof and not have to fall within the ring. The other members around the ring place side bets against whether the spinner will win or lose, and the results of the next throw. Okay. That's it. I will put this link in here because there's a video here that actually shows people who are actually playing two-up. I don't know if they... Because where did I say it come? It wasn't actually an Australian. It come from England. Where is it? Oh, where are we? Well, it's in New Zealand. It's. I'm not quite sure if the Kiwis. If the New Zealanders play it. I know people, we call them Kiwis. We're Aussies. They got the Pommies and they got the Yanks and you got whatever. All the nicknames for different people from different countries. Some people think that New Zealand is a state of Australia. It isn't. It's, I don't know why. So yeah, what else can I tell you about Australia Day? As I said, it's a public holiday. But in Australia, it was really weird. If you have a public holiday and it falls on the weekend, you have, I wonder, the Monday is classified as a holiday too. But I'm just wondering if like if Christmas falls on a Saturday or Sunday, you get a 4-day long weekend, because if Christmas Day falls on a Saturday and Boxing Day on a Sunday, that means it's a 4-day long weekend. Christmas Day and Boxing Day are public holidays, but especially Boxing Day. I did a video last year about Boxing Day. So we get, because, now I'll explain this, because in Australia, banks and post offices are not open on the weekends, right? So if they didn't, there was not an extra day for them holidays, they wouldn't get a public holiday for them days, because Saturday, Sunday is usually a day off. So they've got to give them another day so that they think, oh, we've got a public holiday for Christmas, so we've got an extra day off. That is why we have that extra day. I've got to find out, because since today is a public, I think today is classified as a public holiday for Anzac Day. Is Monday a public holiday? I've got to think. The public holiday for Anzac Day, New South Wales. Okay. Let me see. It said it's a public holiday. Is Anzac Day public? Okay. This year Anzac Day falls on Saturday the 25th, which is the only two states that they will have a public holiday on Monday the 27th are Western Australia and the ACT. ACT is Australian Capital Territory, which is where our government is in ACT. So New South Wales do not have Monday as a public holiday. I'll see if it's a public holiday. I don't think it's a public holiday. It's not classified as a public holiday because it falls on a Saturday, which is, it came in a few years ago. Whatever that holiday fell on, that is a day we classified for a public holiday. We don't get another day off for a holiday because it fell on a Saturday or a Sunday, which is correct. Why should we? It just, because when there's a public holiday here in Australia, there's, do they still have it? There used to be what you call public holiday rates. You get more money for working on a public holiday. But the government will bring it in that they're taking out that extra money where you don't get that loading for a public holiday. I'm not quite sure if that is. What's this? Christmas Day. Okay. Let me see. How can we... I've got all the public holidays. Public holiday for 2020. New Year's Day, additional holiday. Easter Monday, additional holiday. Queen's birthday. The Queen's birthday was the other day. She turned, I think, 84. Yes, 84. Happy birthday, cuz. But for some reason or other, we actually get a public holiday in June for the Queen's birthday. She gets 2 birthdays. When it comes to that day, I'll explain why. Public holiday. Yeah. I know in America you have vacations and you'll have holidays. Your vacations are your personal holiday where you go on your own trip, and you have holidays like Christmas. You have Thanksgiving. That's what you classify as holidays. We classified Christmas as a public holiday, where everybody takes it off. And we classified holidays where we go away for a trip as we classified that as a holiday. Vacationed, holidays. But then again, you classify everything as a holiday. And we say holiday, we say it's actually a day off where you don't work. Like we have Australia Day is classified as a public holiday. Anzac Day is classified as a public holiday. And the shops cannot work. They cannot open of a morning on Anzac morning in respect for the servicemen. They've got to wait till after the march. So usually they open at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But still classified as a public holiday. So Monday in New South Wales is not actually a public holiday. which we're at Christmas Day. Where's Anzac? Yeah, it's a public holiday, you know. It won't get a long weekend until 2022, because that's when it falls on a Monday. So it said today is a day for our soldiers, past and present, who have fought or are still fighting in wars. I think wars are the government send these young men off to war. And most of them did not come back. Especially World War One, World War Two. They sent them off to the Vietnam War. And for some reason, when they came back, they never got the recognition they deserved, which was so wrong. The government sent them off, but they weren't recognised when they came home. It's the same with the Australian Aborigines. They fought in the wars. They were there fighting among the rest of the Aussies, but they were not given recognition of fighting in the wars. Aborigines are Australians. They're like everyone else. They were born here like I was. They should be treated the same as us, and they're no different just because they've got a different colour skin. And they have their own language, which these days I don't think there's much of it around. They still fought for our country. I'm not quite sure when they won't give the same recognition. And it's so wrong. You fought for your country, you should give them recognition no matter what you are. If you migrated from another country when you were young and you become a citizen and you decided, okay, I want to fight for my new country, I bet you they will give them recognition, but the Aborigines were not given the recognition they deserved. No, I've got no Aboriginal blood in me, but I treat everybody the way they should be treated. I treat everybody the way I want to be treated. Skin colour is not a barrier to me. Language is not a barrier. As long as they treat me with respect and that, I will treat them the same. It's the way the country is in how we've got all this racism. People don't like these people because of their skin. They put people down because of their skin. They put people down because they've got a disability. They put certain groups down because of what they've done in the past, and which is so wrong. There was one thing I should talk about, but I won't talk about it because it's just something that's talked about in Australia, and people think that's an Australian Day thing. I think I brought that when I did the Australian Day one. I got an insect flying around. Yeah. Well, Garfield finally got off the lounge. And that's to do me over till I have lunch. You know, I got a new baby. You would have seen my new baby Sally. I have found out more about her. She's a vintage one of Lee Millerton. She is from 1997. She was gifted to me by Sally. Hi, Sally. And Sally actually brought her off Stephanie money towards the lawsuit, and she was actually donated to Stephanie by Avatar 10,000. Oh, excuse me. And I can't wait to go shopping to get her some clothes. I've got to work out what size she is to get her something pretty before it gets too cold. So I'll be going shopping when I need food. I went shopping on, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember. It might have been Wednesday. No, yeah, I think it went shopping Wednesday because I didn't need food. I needed bread. When my cereal gets down, when my bread gets down, then I will go shopping. And I'm still thinking of I need to buy a new mattress. I'm still looking at. It's so confusing. There's so. I know I need a plush. Sorry, is it plush? A plush mattress, because I wonder what plush is, the feeling of the softness on top, and mine is a plush one, so I want to get the same as that. And I don't know if I want to get one online, like Bed in a Box, or if I want to go to a shop and get one. If I know that there's a couple of places online, if I get them online, I can use Afterpay to get a bed where I pay it off. I'll get the bed but pay it off. I think there's one store over here. They actually have Afterpay. I can do the same way. So I'm not spend more money out of my bank. I'm paying it off. So I think when I go shopping, I think I might walk, because I've got to walk, I don't know, 10 minutes. I think I've got to walk. And there's probably nowhere to sit down over there. That is the problem these days with this COVID virus around. It's just that there's nowhere, if you do a lot of walking, there's nowhere for you to sit down. I'm wondering if I should bite the bullet and actually buy one online, because if I don't like it, I can send it back and they will refund my money and they will actually donate the mattress to a charity. Because there's nowhere in the plaza to sit down. Nowhere. Unless I could go and sit in the loo for a while. That's one place. It's the only place in the plaza you can sit down. Oh. So I might go, and that ends that day. I'll put the link to where I actually got the history of Anzac Day. I'll put the link in the description. I would put the link to a dawn service in Australia, so you can see what happens on a dawn service. There's two here actually. Driveway dawn service. Aussies hold dawn service nationwide. There is they had a dawn service at the War Memorial in Canberra. And that goes for 42 minutes. I might put the link to that, put the driveway one and the other one. So that you can see what happens, how we commemorate our soldiers and what they did for us in fighting for our country. And 25th of April, there is a verse, verse. There is something nice. Here it is. This is what they say. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning we will remember them, lest we forget. I might put that at the end screen. I might put that at the end screen. I was working on my actually thumbnail while I was waiting for the Patreon live. I might put this one. I'll put this one better. Yeah. I was waiting. Did anybody look at the Patreon live? Did you? Yes. They opened my parcel I sent them. I don't think she recognised the name of the biscuits I sent her. I know because what I sent her were called Gaieties. I know in the past she had been sent ones called Tim Tams. I don't like Tim Tams. Do not like Tim Tams. Love Gaieties. Oh, really nice. I don't think she recognised that. But I'm glad they enjoyed everything. Yeah, so everybody, I hope you're doing well, whatever you're doing in the world today. Hope you have, I've heard that California are in lockdown. Especially that's what Stephanie is. She's in Fresno, California. They're in lockdown, so they can't go out. So she can't go out and throw her boomerang. I wrapped it. She said, "This is the boomerang." Oh, I should have wrapped it as some. Oh, I don't know. But I'm glad she enjoyed it. But if you missed out, if you're not on Patreon, I think she's going to. It was a good video. Lucky. So this is Anzac Day. So if any of, I don't get many Aussies, but to an Aussie Sally, if you have anyone in your family who have fought in the war or are still fighting, this day is for them, to remember them for what they did for us and for our country. Some people say it's like we're celebrating. No, it's not celebrate. We're not celebrating war. We're not celebrating anything. We're remembering them for what they did for us, fighting for our country. But back in when they were actually sent off the war. They did not want to go to war. They were sent off the war. But then there were soldiers who were actually put their ages up so they could actually go to war. So they were younger than what they should have been. I'm not quite sure how old they should have been, but they wanted to go to fight for their country, so they put their age up. There were some who couldn't go because they lived on the land. I know my grandfather, he didn't go, but his brother did. I'm not quite sure where he went. I got nothing about him. I have got information about Sarge somewhere. Where are we? We're getting up a bit. This is going to take a while. I might have to... No, I haven't. I thought I had something here. No. So this is getting a bit long. It's getting nearly an hour, and this is going to take me a while because I've still got to work on the thumbnail. I've got the thing for the closing, and that's it. So everybody, I hope you have a good day wherever you are in this beautiful world. I hope you're staying safe. Hope you're self-isolating. Quarantine is if you have the bug and you cannot go out at all. Self-isolating, social distancing is what we do to keep away, so it helps prevent the spread of this virus. Everybody, I hope you have... Someone wants to come and say hello. Here he is. You've been in the poos, haven't you? He's been in the poos, has been happy, because I have got Sally sitting in the corner where he usually sits. And he'd been sitting on the lounge. But once I got the video up here, oh, that was it. He was down, weren't you? Yeah. He loves the camera, don't you? So what are you going to do? Finish off, aren't we? Okay. So everybody, he's not going to give you all a hug. You do? You're in such a good book, you're in such a good mood, you want to give everybody a hug. Okay, everybody, here we come, walking down the street, get the funniest hug, 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 looks from everyone we meet, hey, hey, we're the monkeys. Everybody, Have a good day, mate. Celebrate whatever day it is. Have a good day. Have a cake. Have a birthday cake. Because today is somebody's birthday. Yay! So everybody, I will see you in my next video, which will be tomorrow. And have a good day, mate. Bye. Bye.